Okay, so let's just get right into this one. This war video is going to be about an average length. It's a little bit shorter. The assignments came through, and my section 1, I was just basically there for energy and to take an empty lane. Kenobi left path 3 and path 4 with no defenders, so I took path 4, so I didn't have any fights in the first section. My team obviously doesn't lend itself too well to high ground if there's a bunch of high ground defenders section 1, so that's fine. So I got this Sasquatch mini-boss here, and I went with the Power Start 1 boost, because I was like, well, I have Power Reserve, so you're really getting a power and a half start boost. And I realized my power was going to be getting way too high if I didn't throw a special early on. So I threw one special 1 pretty early. I get the Dex on the Sasquatch's SP1. And so here I go in, I land my special 2, I time it well for encroaching stun. Now he's at a special 2 here, and if you don't know, you get Power Reserve on this node, so it takes only half of their specials, or half of either of your champ specials, plus he places with MD. So now he has his Rage, so he's not taking much damage from a Torch with Nova Flames, if you couldn't tell. Those should be doing a lot more. My timer is ticking down. He throws his special 2 there, and I get stunned, because he throws it at the point that I was willing to just throw my special even if it was into his block. But fortunately he goes in, he hits me, and with the way Smolders work, I applied the Incinerates to him just by getting hit. And the main reason I didn't have anything was because I was on this path 8 over here, which has double high ground defenders, so I was making sure that the Alliance boss was down. Before logging on, obviously I got tagged by my officer and the person who took down the boss, because with high ground we've just been running a lot of boss rush strategies, just so 2/3 of the battle group don't have to deal with high ground as much. It makes it a lot easier, allows me to use a torch here on the Symbiote Supreme without worrying about high ground. When I was out on the map, it still had the high ground symbol, so I was double and triple checking, why is there no high ground symbol on the inside and why is it on the outside? It was a bit confusing, but there's nothing there. In this fight, it's a torch fight, I want to take a lot of block hits, but I should not have done that Dex because he's up to 50 genetic potential, so he'll get extra power gain when he switches his stance, or his blessing, which we'll be doing in just a couple seconds, but I got my Nova Flames up just from playing really aggressively. Even with those weaknesses, he's taking massive amounts of damage. I'm just going to go in, just hit him a few times, drop the SP2, and that closes out the fight. 25 seconds, because if no one knew this already, I assume most of you do, the fight timer starts when you run in. So it says you have 5 minutes, but you really have 4:55 to do your damage. It's a little bit weird, but it's whatever. This is that weakness node, and rich get richer again. So right now Surfer has the passive power gain, so I really want to get a stagger, and then I should probably actually bait out a heavy here, which I don't do, but I'm at my SP1, so I'm going to steal back a bar of power, nullify his, actually I would have nullified his buff, but he has nullify immunity on this node, so I'm just trying to control his power, make sure he doesn't go too high. I'm baiting out heavies, or I was repairing and baiting out heavies at the same time, because I don't want to have to deal with Surfer's SP2 just in case if I get clipped by it, because it takes a lot of distance. I'm fairly good at dexing his SP2, but it's not always a risk like you want to take in war. Like I said with iHulk, it's not impossible to do, it's just you don't need to take the risk, so I tend not to. I staggered his buff. I'm just going to go, I guess, for another SP3. And the special attack 3, as we've seen in past wars, when you get the second Fury, it does 40,000 damage, so it will basically just kill from here. And then the next 2 fights are both Quake fights. This war is against, actually I didn't mention this already, this war is against Kenobi, obviously a very famous war alliance with the war champion titles. One of the very few alliances with double-digit alliance war wins, or alliance war season wins. Always very good. There was a couple seasons where they weren't as good, but they're still a very, very top tier alliance. This is obviously Pepe's Green Goblin. I think actually in this war, Pepe died with Quake. I'm not sure if that was this season or last season, I can't quite remember, but he died on this node with Quake, and they were saying Pepe's a pretty good Quake guy, and I was like, it was a very different fight though. His was Mojo, I think. So I want to take this time to talk a little bit about the next video, which I'm hopefully going to get out tonight, as long as everything goes according to plan, because these two kind of play into each other. As I showed in the last video, I got 10 fights after dying, and then I take 10 fights without dying, and then my officer assigns me, I think it's 5 fights, or no, it's 4 fights, because I don't get anything in Section 1, but obviously there's 2 empty lanes in Section 1, so I understand like 2 people have to get that, and then we also usually have someone doing pre-fight placements, so it's basically 3 people that aren't fighting. So I know I'm like lucky enough to take 2 mini-bosses, so I shouldn't feel like hurt by that. But you know, when you take like 10 fights and you think you play pretty well in a war, and then like you get a third of the fights practically, it's a little bit annoying, but like it's nothing that I should have been upset about. I still got to take 2 mini bosses. I was trusted with important fights. Like, this is after the boss is down. You really don't want to be giving up deaths without the global there, because that's just, it's a lot easier without it. And I think that kind of plays into what happens a little bit in the next war video, which I won't go into too much spoiler detail, but if you're in any chats with me, I have a fight just go kind of wrong, and it was not a very good day for me that day. I'd been a little bit busy the past couple weeks. I was trying to set up YouTube, and then I was helping some family members with some other different things, and then I just had some personal stuff come up that was just bothering me. And then when this happened, it just annoyed me a little bit. It shouldn't have. I'm lucky to be in GT40 at all. I love it here. I love my officer. I know I've said some things that kind of come across as like picking on him a bit, but he's a really good guy. Same with the leader. I like all my alliance mates. They're all really good people. I even am lucky enough to have like a couple of friends in here with me from other alliances. So I'm really happy here. It's just like one of those in the moment things where ego takes over a little bit more than you kind of mean to. But this is just about the end for this video. We won this war. In case anyone doesn't know, I'll give a little bit of a spoiler. Right now, GT40 is sitting in first place if you hadn't checked the leaderboards, but you probably have if you do Alliance War. You usually check the leaderboards after every couple wars. So GT40 right now is at 6-0, so it's obviously a very good start to the first half of the season. I'm very pleased with our alliance. We're doing an absolutely fantastic job. Our officers are doing a great job planning. Most of our wars have been like sub 3 deaths. Yes, today's war was a very big one. I can't wait to post that one. I got to talk to someone from that alliance. He was a really good guy. And I'll try to get out the video as soon as I can tonight. I hope you guys have a good one. Until then, see you guys soon.